Perfect, perfect, perfect.
What do you need for this recipe? Obviously you need to eat sweet potatoes. Any kind you like, that's really up to you, your taste or preference. I believe we got the red. And sweet potato reds. I'm screwing up the name. You're gonna need some raisins. Don't leave just yet. There's a reason for this. Raisins, cinnamon, nutmeg, brown sugar, butter, some pineapple. Trust me. Pineapple, and I think that's pretty much it. And we'll go ahead and get started. I said "and" a lot, and it's probably because I've been prepping for this.
Cody.
Alright. 2 pans. Get water started. This thing better not be cheap, man. I just bought it. I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to do a product review on Walmart's potato peelers. Yeah, so I think it was me earlier. Technical difficulties. I was just, I was pushing too hard. It's not really worth it to make a small batch of this, but you know, it's usually like either medium or extra large. For this part, totally up to you, but whatever size you or shape you cut them in, try to keep the sizes about the same because that helps with cooking these. So if you got like, you know, some large chunks and some tiny ones, those two aren't going to cook at the same speed, and it could, you know, make your dish a little bit more complicated than it has to be. I like this to be super simple and as fast as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quarter them and then try to slice those quarters up into about the same size. You're here because you want to know how to get that ingredient into these yams.
Perfect.
And in some circles, you get called the connoisseur, the culinary connoisseur.
Perfect.
And others, they just call us alcoholics. I have a drinking problem. The story actually on how this even happened, I wouldn't say it's by accident, because it's not really by accident, but it is kind of a funny story. So, it was a couple of years ago where I was at my parents' house for Thanksgiving. It was a long time ago. So I was in the kitchen doing all the cooking. It was me, my brother was there. I think we were cooking and we were drinking. I don't know if you can still see me. We were cooking and we were drinking, we're having a good time. And I had this big pot of yams. I had this huge pot of yams on the stove. And while we were drinking, we're having, sorry, I'm gonna put my back to you. We were drinking, I was cooking, we're having a good time. I think it's actually my brother was like, hey, pour some of that Hennessy in those yams. And I was like, man, that sounds like the greatest idea I've heard all day. And yeah, I did. I had like halfway full with the yams because I had a lot of stuff I put in, which some of you will see in a little bit. And I had the big, huge bottle of Hennessy, and that's what we were drinking. And we had drunk that maybe 3/4 of the way down, so we were already gone anyway. That's probably why it seemed like a good idea, and it turns out it was a great idea because I took the rest of that bottle and poured it into the yams and just sat there. We were drinking and cooking, and I was just stewing, cooking these yams. And then at the end, we start putting it on little bowls and giving people some. And you gotta imagine now, my mom, my dad, church people, you know, house full of old church ladies, right? You know, I'm talking like old church ladies with the dress, with the hat to match. The hat looks like Starship Enterprise, you know, big huge hat, the bow, maybe even some kind of like a tiger on the side or something, some sort of ornament. Those church ladies. So we start filling the bowls up, handing them out. You know, here's some yams. People's like, oh, I want some yams. Can you give me some yams, baby? So we started putting yams in bowls and handing them out while people were talking. And we kind of sat back because me and my brother knew what we had done. Nobody else was tracking. So we sat back in the kitchen. We was eating yams and drinking, having a good time, and just looking for these old ladies' faces to start changing once they start eating those yams. And let me tell you something. That was one of the coolest things I ever seen in my life. Because one or two things happened. Either one, they tasted it and it was like, oh, like their eyes flished up and rolled in the back of their head. And it's like, oh, I can't do it, baby. And they put it down. It's like, something's wrong. I'm having insulin. Something's wrong. Either that happened, or my favorite one, they was like, who made these jams? That was the best part. So, we're all prepped. We're gonna go into the next stage. The easiest way I know how to do this for you to do for your job if you've never done this before is to separate the wet and the dry parts, and then work them separately, and then do a part where they come together for a final product. So what I have here is pumpkin spice, cinnamon, and nutmeg. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna coat all of this, all these sweet potato pieces in these 3 spices. And then this is going to go in the oven for like on 350 for like 15-20 minutes. I wanna cook them, or get them started cooking, but not cook them all the way, because there's gonna be the part where I combine the wet part with this and then finish it off. So, nutmeg. Now, if you're looking for, I would advise putting 3 ounces of such and such and half a cup of whatnot and so forth, then yeah, you're not gonna get that far. When you put this in the oven and it starts cooking and your house starts smelling like this, you're gonna, you may open the window. Sometimes you wanna stun on your neighbors. Open the window, let that go across the street, and then they start coming over trying to borrow stuff. Like, hey man, you got any napkins I could borrow? Man, that smells nice in here. What are you cooking? What you making? So, that's really what you're going for right there. You're gonna stick that in the oven on 350. Let it sit in there for like 15-20 minutes. You can check it. It may need to go a little bit longer. Really what you're looking for visually when these are cooking is for like the edges to start crisping up, start getting a little dark. You don't want it to look like a piece of burnt charcoal, but you want the edges to start crisping up, maybe even seeping in towards the middle. That's generally what I go for, because when you finish with the wet ingredients, you're going to combine the 2 and then throw it all again back in the oven one more time to bake off for like another 10 minutes to complete. I'm trying to keep things from, sticking to the bottom, because the raisins and stuff are sitting at the bottom. If you don't keep agitating it, you don't keep moving it. I've had it where the raisins like burn and stick to the bottom of the pot, so you always want to be watching this, especially since you got alcohol in it. Let's be smart, people. So you see, like these raisins are, I don't know if you could tell, but they're trying to swell up. You know what I mean? That's kind of one of my indicators that the sauce is ready. Once they kind of look like they're trying to come back to life. I never keep this too high, because the higher it is, the more alcohol it burns off. And I do want to keep it warm and bubbling and moving, so it helps everything come together, which it pretty much is. And I was tasting it earlier. Now I was pretty much like I'm done, but I'm trying to get this sauce to try to thicken up a little bit, and that's the hard part, especially because I keep adding liquids to it, so it keeps changing the consistency, and that's probably why I'm not a chef and I'm not in school. But I do know that after things get to the point where I'm like, okay, I like it, and then you turn everything off, you let it cool. Once it cools down, this sauce is thick as cold peanut butter. That's how thick it is. Okay, so you guys have been in the oven for a minute. We're gonna take them out because it's time to mix these two. Try to see that? So some of them, they're all kind of, I get that color. Looks like the seasoning's kind of baked in real good. Okay, so I forgot to do the part where I added this because we're not paying attention. We forgot all about it. But as you can see, added the yams into the sauce, and you can kind of tell. Like you see, it gives that little color. I like that. It seems to pop a little bit more. So now it's in the juice, and we're just gonna let this sit and marinate all together. That's all that's gonna happen. But we're gonna let this sit for like another, let's say 15 minutes on low, and then we'll come back and take a look at it. It should be good to go. Because you can't find a big one. That was really good. See how I go straight up? These are pretty much done. Just gonna let the heat from the juice finish these off. You know, take in some of the flavor from the juice as well. Which one of these raisins? Because I know this has got a secret in it. Yeah, having raisins is doing it.